Hello, everyone. This is the Revolutionary Think Tank podcast. If this is your first time here, this is a podcast about political commentary, a sprinkling of philosophy, organizing psychology, and revolutionary thinking. My name is 4AS, and this is my co-host, MysterE. So, MysterE, how are you going today?
I am very well, 4IS. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm going pretty good, and we do have a returning special guest with us today, KG. Welcome back to the studio. Welcome back to the Revolutionary Think Tank podcast. How are you going today, mate?
I'm good, 4IS. Thank you for having me again. Thanks, MysterE and 4IS.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming back because, March is a big month for you guys because, yes, it's you're here today to discuss, the fallout of the Nepalese election that happened earlier this month. And look, a lot of things have happened. So, why don't we kind of go into where we left off? I think it was at the end of last year. So,
we were doing a postmortem of the Gen Z revolution that happened in Nepal. So
let me start with this question then. Like, how has the toppling of the previous government, like, how has that reshaped the political landscape leading up until March the 5th, the election? Like, how did that change things?
So as we discussed in our previous podcast, how Gen Z came onto the street and started burning out the political government houses because of the corruption they have gone through, and it also came through all the social media like TikTok hashtags that led to that scenario. And from that situation, now as we see the government, the landscape of the government and the history, like political history, from I believe around 50 or 60 years, has been changed, like totally revolutionized. The previous parties and the current party led by Gen Z, there is a huge difference between those. So there are a lot of positive outcomes coming through, which is pleasing us Gen Z. So I think this current situation and the landscape that we are moving towards is good for us.
Look, I'm very pleased because last time we spoke to you, it seemed like both you and Himanshu were quite despondent leading up to this. It seems like there's been a bit of a tone shift. So yeah, like, tell us, like, so there's been a rise of Gen Z parties then. So tell us the history behind that. Because this is where the what was it, the rapper that you were saying that was the mayor? Like, I'm assuming he's part of one of the parties, correct?
Yes. So this party is named after RSP, which is like Rashtriya Swatantra Party. That means Rashtriya means National Freedom Community kind of thing, which stands for National Freedom Community. And the mayor currently, he hasn't been announced as prime minister yet, but he will be the youngest prime minister in the world, which is, I believe, a significant achievement for us as well. Including he's a rapper and also one part of the Gen Z. The tone shift from our previous, like him and my previous, our previous interview was like before we were confused if this was also manipulated by westernizers or not, and how everything will be leaded to. And I talked with my parents as well after we had a conversation, and we discussed will he vote for the new generation rapper or not. We asked, me and Himanshu, we both asked to our parents, and my father, he directly said no to me, like he didn't even had like a second thought, and he said, how you guys don't have any experience and you guys don't have any population, how you gonna revolutionize this country, he said like this. And also, like, Nepal is, most of the people in Nepal, they are around 40 to 60 age group, less
Right.
Gen Zs because Gen Zs are overseas. And I see like people from Australia, they booked their ticket, went to Nepal, and then convinced their parents, took their grandparents, and voted on RSP, which is
Right.
which is the Swatantra Party, and the rapper, he wasn't on the Swatantra Party before, and Swatantra Party was also the previous parliamentary party, which is the third largest party on previous parliament, and they did use trick, like they offered Balendra Shah prime minister so that he can join their party and their party can win the election.
Okay, so that was the tactic. That was the tactic.
So that was their tactic, which did work actually. Like.
So can I ask, because when we were talking about this last year, the party that you've described, so the English translation is the National Freedom Community Party.
Yeah.
The critique of Balendra Shah, did I say his name right?
Balendra Shah,
yeah. The critique of him was that he probably couldn't get into a prime ministerial position because he didn't have a party behind him.
Yeah.
But so what you're saying is he's actually joined an existing party and they asked him to come along because they wanted his popularity, right?
Yes.
And so that's how it's happened. Yeah, because there was all this speculation last time we spoke. People were like, yeah, he's very popular, but how could he ever become prime minister? He doesn't have a party, like a proper party behind him.
And also he was currently in good situation to bargain with them because the party that he joined, the founder of that party, has a few of the cases running on the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
And previous government, because what happened was when there was previous government and he was he was in the third largest party. So in order to form that government, they need to have like a collective vote in the parliament. So this guy, the third largest party guy, he joined another party and they formed a government, and he was what you call, so, and then he opened the corruption file, and then on that corruption file, the ex-prime minister, he opened the file of the ex-prime minister basically. So what they did was the ex-prime minister, he again bribed the party and they overthrew that government. And the ex-prime minister, he formed his government and they put a case against the RSP founder, and he was kept on jail until the election. And in the election, he came out like during the election. And when Genji started burning the governmental home, and then they break through the jail, and he basically came out from the jail waving his hand waving his hand in the car, and then again he went back. And then if they didn't offered Balendra Shah prime minister, then he could have been on prison for we don't know how long. So really? I think that's why they offered Balendra Shah prime minister, which basically went good with that party as well as for us.
And so, like, what do you think of Balendra Shah then? Yeah, as a politician, what do you think of him?
So again, like I'll repeat the same thing. I remember back in 2013, when he was having a battle in the rap battle between two guys, underground rap battle. He said the same sentence, like he said, like, your father want to click picture with me until I got into the parliament, blah blah. He said that word on the battle with one of the guy, and I believe like he manifested at that time, and continuously he has been saying like he didn't vote until he didn't put any of the vote until now. He straightly vote himself, but before that he never engaged on any of the election, and he was constantly posting it on his social media platform saying that I won't vote any corrupted government until I became prime minister. Then he has been manifested it from 2013 onwards, and I have been following him since then. I do hear his raps, and I'm a big fan of Balendra Saha. Still I'm a big fan, but I used to be bigger fan before than what currently he is, So yeah, I'm in support of what he might do coming forward, but he has done better thing for the capital city.
Okay, because I guess we're coming into this talk, I was genuinely curious as to what the feeling was on the ground as to whether the current political parties or maybe even the new emerging parties, whether there was kind of a vibe check as to whether people were kind of just saying what Gen Z wanted to hear, and that it was dubious whether they were actually going to commit to any promises that for Gen Z, or whether there was the Gen Z and I guess the political landscape felt like there was genuine change that is happening. So I guess I'll shift my question slightly. So Bilinga Sal, it seems like there's a lot of positive vibes and positive change that is surrounding him. Well, how was he able to convince Gen Z? What has he promised that if he becomes prime minister, what will he do for Gen Z and say the youth in Nepal?
So yeah, so there is I believe there is a trend. In every election, before election, 2 days prior, they need to take out their Ghoshana Patra, which is their thing that they do when they come on the government, on the parliament. And Balendra Saha straightly said, they don't actually want to take those things out, because first their task is to make the corrupted people go inside jail and then clear out the corruption from our country. And that, I think that statement, beginning from that statement, was appealing him to move forward, and the youngsters were supporting those Balendra Saha. Basically, they weren't supporting RSP, they were only supporting Balendra Saha. So the RSP totally won from whole country because of Balendra Saha. So yeah, and if you go and ask any of the Gen Z, I think half of the people, they doesn't know the member who is involved, who is in the RSP, but they will say, oh, the Balendra Saha won. They won't say the party won, they will say straightly Balendra Saha won. And I can add few more conspiracy behind winning of Balendra Saha, because as the election were nearer, I don't know if that's the involvement of some Western funding, but BBC, he before 2 or 3 days ago, of the election, BBC posted a video what happened in Gen Z, and the channel straightly pointed out that it was previous government failure, which also I believe was one of the point to support RSP, because we have seen.
Right, yeah, because thank you for prompting one of the questions I had, because I wasn't sure whether you heard about this MysterE, but I wanted to ask about the Electoral Commission, because leading up to the election, the Electoral Commission censored the BBC documentary and a lot of things that came out about the previous government and its corruption. And they basically said, hey, we're going into a political cycle. We think this will influence people's vote. So we're going to censor these documentaries where people can't access it and view it. And there was a lot of controversy about it. So I've given a primer there, but KG, I was curious whether did that affect people's trust in the the Electoral Commission and the government, and how it was handling things? Because there was straight up censorship that was happening.
Yeah, I know. It's because of the frustration with previous government. Nobody thought about pointing those things to election commission, but it was my genuine feeling regarding BBC, why BBC took that documentary out right before election, but nobody pointed out anything to election commission at that time,
Sorry, just to clarify, are you saying the conspiracy points that you're pointing out? Was it the censorship or the fact that the BBC documentary happened at the time? Like, do you think that the release of it was suspect, or do you think that the censorship was suspect? Just to be kind of clear.
Release, I believe release was the suspect, not the censorship. Really? Suspect, yeah. Because I do support Balendra Saha, to be honest. I won't say like the BBC documentary impacted previous government. Previous government should have won this election, this thing and that thing, because previous government, they were ruling Nepal since 40 years, since the time I was born. And the ex-prime minister, he became prime minister, I think, around 9 times. He do have like a record kind of thing becoming.
And what party was the previous prime minister from?
So he was from UML. So we call it MLA. So it's a democratic party, but they are communist. They follow.
They're communist, right?
Yeah, they do follow communism.
Okay.
Yeah, but they do follow communism. But they don't have any like communism kind of feeling, because they merge with any parties. They just need to form the government. That's all. They don't have any agendas, any sort of thoughts. And going back to the BBC again, for IS, I think documentary was indeed planned by, I don't know whoever planned those things, but was indeed planned to take out 2 days before the election, 2 or 3 days before the election.
And who was it going to affect though? Like the existing prime minister? Or are you saying that no, it's going to affect who?
The previous prime minister, of course.
It will affect the previous prime minister. Okay.
Yes, previous prime minister and previous parties. And again, going back to that, everything happened right after our previous prime minister came back from China parade that we discussed last year as well. So when he came back from China parade, everything happened. And BBC is a Western media, and it did take out documentaries. So there is slight feeling inside that Western media is also supporting Balendra Saha, which is actually good for us, but who knows.
Interesting. Why do you think the Western media might be supporting? Is it just because the prime minister was too close to China? Is that why? The ex-prime minister?
Can be,
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think he was the only one invited from Asia, because India was not invited at that time, and Pakistan, I believe Pakistan was also not invited, because he was only invited. And I actually don't have that much geopolitical knowledge, but I believe if somebody gets closer to China, then it gets further with USA or whoever.
And so do you know what, like, Balendra Saha, like, what would his politics be with like other nations? Like, how is his relation, do you reckon, going to be with India? Because I know that's really important, right? Like, if you have to keep up good relations with India. Like, obviously, I think China will be important too. Like, is there any indication of what his policy is going to be like, apart from him being popular?
So when he was mayor, because we do share border with India, and we do have like a historical relationship with India. So when there was British rule in India, we have to trade some of our land with Britishers, like British governments.
Yep.
And when British government went back, we couldn't claim those land back to us. So India is still owns that property. So when there was land dispute came up back in 2017, I believe, back in 17, Balendra Saha was the only governmental parties who said they need to return our land, basically. And he asked people to make another map of Nepal, greater map of Nepal, which included India's current land as well. So
okay, I'm kind of collecting the dots. Is this where the whole database being destroyed comes into play as well?
Yes. It does matter. It does matter, but after that we haven't heard anything regarding the database situation, what's happening, and if there is still data or not. But adding that, Balendra Saha, he did studies his university in India. So he graduated from India, and he he's from the Tarai, which is basically he's from the closest Indian border side of Nepal. So there is some positive relationship we can address, and there is some negative relationship also we can address between him and India. And last time I believe he hasn't been prime minister, but he got call from Narendra Modi congratulating himself from India's, like he hasn't become prime minister, but Narendra Modi gave him a call.
Modi called him?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Whoa. Well. I wonder if Xi Jinping's called him too.
I don't think that's...
Next minute, visit to Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, you got to see the king.
Rarely we heard any of the Nepalese political party visiting Xi Jinping, except Prime Minister KP Oli, who was overthrown last year.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, like, does that mean though that Bilendra Shah now he's a prime minister of is it KSP? Is that the name of the party? RSP. Sorry, RSP. Does that mean he controls RSP now?
He doesn't own RSP. He doesn't own RSP. He's just prime minister. He doesn't. I think he has only like 3 or 4 members from himself, like from his side.
Yeah.
But most of the RSP, they are compelled to support Bilendra Shah, or else again Gen Z will burn their houses. So that's the frustration.
Yeah.
Right. So there's like a mini coalition, if you will. Like he's joined whatever support he has, like in terms of within his party, and joined RSP, and there's like a mini coalition, and people just understand he's going to be the prime minister if he gets up.
Straight away. There is no chance, like, and they have media and people are straightly asking the founder of RSP, like, if you guys don't make Bilendra Shah prime minister, we're gonna do this.
Like in Australian politics, right? The prime minister, like they don't own the party, but like they have control over the members that make it into parliament, as in like whoever is prime minister is leader, and so like it's kind of, what's the word? It's controversial if you don't listen to your leader, kind of thing. Like if, like let's say Bilendra Shah wants to bring in some new legislation, right? Like his first thing that he wants to do is bring in a new anti-corruption piece of legislation. And then like people from RSP are kind of like, oh, I don't want that legislation to come through. And they block him from putting in that legislation. That's going to look bad, I'm assuming, right? Like how much control do you think he's going to have for his party? Like you kind of said before, look, if they don't listen to him, Gen Z's, they're going to do it again. Like,
that's true. That's the frustration I believe Gen Z's are facing.
So all I'm asking is, do you reckon RSP are going to be listening to him? Like he's not just, he got us the vote and now forget about him. Like do you reckon he's going to have their support?
Yeah, because
let me actually just slightly phrase it for you as well, KG, because with Australian politics, there's known as party solidarity or like block politics. So it's like controversial if you cross the floor and blocks like your own party's like legislation. Whereas in America, they like a member of any party can vote for whatever, and like whips, and like there's actually people who are in charge within parties to kind of drum up votes for and against things. So in that vein, is it more party solidarity or block partying in Nepalese parliamentary system, or is it more they have to like whip up votes?
No, there is party solidarity. There is party solidarity. So before, because this kind of situation has never came through, because this was the first time in history where people are voting a single person, which is leading a whole party to win the election. So I believe like if something like that happen in future, we don't know, because politics is dirty. Like we say, dirty politics. Anyway, so this kind of thing is expected. But if that happened again, I believe Gen Z will be in support of Bilendra Shah rather than supporting the party. And if those things happen again, I believe the party will also break down in huge number. and most of the people will come and join Balendra Shah rather than joining. They might form a new government, who knows? But
yeah, the construction people that have just rebuilt the government buildings. It's like they've just burned it down again. It's like, oh come on, I just finished it.
yeah,
Have they rebuilt Parliament?
they are rebuilding Parliament behind the data center, but the previous Parliament is burned down. So I'm going like next week to figure out what the current situation of Parliament anyway.
No way.
Wait,
So they don't even
where
have
are
a
they currently
building.
doing everything if the previous Parliament hasn't been rebuilt yet?
No, they are not building the previous Parliament. They are building the new Parliament right behind data center now. They can't build because previous Parliament, I believe, was built by Japan, and we were renting that building, and we were paying some rent to Japanese government or whoever it is, but it wasn't Nepal's own building, so it was foreign owned building which Genji destroyed. Again, we have to build it, but I think it will take some time to build it.
So can I ask, like the corruption angle? Not that it was was the only thing that Gen Z seemed to be very worried about. There were multiple issues, but the corruption issue seems to be like a massive factor, like make or break kind of thing. What is Gen Z actually expecting someone like Bralendra Shah to actually do? Like what? Like corruption is like riddled throughout society. Like, it can happen at every level. It's a cultural thing sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's part of what people do. Like, what is it that Gen Z kind of wants the new government to do?
Okay,
like, how do you even, where do you start? Like,
or let me just add, or just let me add a bit to that. Or is there no consensus? Like, it is, one section of Gen Z wants something that's more radical, for example, and another people just want the corruption gone. Like, let me add that to the question.
So that's a good question. I want to add few things. I will take you back to the past where everything happened. So when I'll consider we, because I also belong to Gen Z. So when we started burning down the political party's house, we did burn down one of the, not ex-prime minister, but the prime minister before that prime minister. So his name is Sher Bahadur Deva. So when we burned his house, we found a tunnel full of US dollars, and which was actually vlogged by a few of the Nepalese influencer and medias, and which is like freely available on YouTube, saying like if you search US dollar on previous ex-minister house, you will see a bunch of videos. And when those questions came back to media and our ex-prime minister was asked, he said it was completely made by AI, and that's the false claim.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, that's the false claim. So from my instinct, because I am Gen Z, so I believe my brothers and my friends also feel the same. But from my instinct, I think when Balendra Shah first arrests that prime minister, then his first agenda will be fulfilled, and we'll start saying Balendra Shah has done his job, So that's the first step of settling down the corruption regime. And another, I'll add another conspiracy after what BBC has done 2 days after election. So election commission, so before election happened, Nepal's current temporary government, they formed a group alliance which were sent back to investigate what happened during Gen Z and who gave order to fire to the youngsters. That document came back 2 days after election. So we have one question, and after election, and still haven't came on media, but they said that the previous government who was on the party, including prime minister, they have appealed to arrest him. So we have question like, what if that prime minister again have won the election?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and why did it came?
And the CIA are like, and to the Nepalese government to deliver 2 days before the
Before the
election.
election, and 2 days after the election to arrest the current prime minister. So they might be targeting our previous ex-prime minister after he came back from China. Who knows? Still conspiracy, but I believe he surely will have to face some of the legal actions what he have done to Gen Z. Thankfully, like Balendra Shah, which we expected, has won. So he also won like a huge difference, around 50,000 votes. Previous ex-prime minister, he was around 13,000, and Balendra Shah.
Right.
Balendra Shah, he went to his area. So that's also so Balendra Shah. He was mayor from Kathmandu, and he has huge fan base population in Kathmandu, capital city. There was good opportunity, and everybody was saying Balendra Shah to nominate himself from Kathmandu on election, but Balendra Shah went to the ex-prime minister area and he nominated himself on that area, and he won more than 50,000 votes. And that's the saddest thing, and saddest thing happened so far.
Right. Okay. So I'll paint a picture for everything that you've said, and like correct me at any point if I'm wrong. So it sounds like since the toppling of the previous government and the burning down of the government building, there's kind of been actually, I'd like to know as well about Shalila Karki, like what's happened with her. But I'll just paint a picture. So we've had the toppling of the government building was burned down, and then everything's kind of swelled to the 5th of March leading up to the election. It seems like broadly this previous mayor from Kathmandu, rapper extraordinaire, has taken over, what was it, the third most popular party, and he's Balendra Shah has promised to end the corruption, and that's the only hard promise he's made Gen Z, and they've gone to the election with that. I guess only on my is that correct? Is that like a good summary of everything that's kind of happened?
Yes. And he hasn't given any interview at all. It's just like, I'm gonna end the corruption. That's it. He haven't spoken to any political parties, any medias, nothing.
Interesting. So nobody's particularly questioned him about what specifically he's promised.
Yeah, nobody particularly.
Okay, that's very interesting.
He hasn't answered anybody.
No, go on.
So basically, I think that's his election strategy. So, and we like most of the media are claiming that he has bad attitudes, but I think that's his election strategy. He didn't speak at all. Like, he just went to the election, got the vote, and won the overthrow the largest political party that was in the parliament from I don't know how many years, 40 or 50 years ago.
Right. So, okay. So are you telling me that he was like, I'm going to end corruption, and he's put out a statement, and then the media have been like, okay, great. We'll go to a press conference and we'll get clarifications from this guy. And he's been like, no, I've said what I'm going to say. I'm doing no media appearances. I've said what I was going to say. And leading up to the election, he's made no press conferences or any interviews. And so they've got okay, that's very interesting. So
he posted one Facebook story
because that was actually going to be one of my other questions.
So he posted one Facebook story saying, I won't be integrated with the ex-prime minister who is a killer, who is a criminal. So I don't want to be with those criminals. I don't want to be compared with those criminals. That was his last Facebook statement. So he didn't make any statement at all. So he straightly went to his area. That's it. No media appearance, nothing. No commentary, nothing.
Oh, so his thing was he thought that if he had to make a media appearance, it was going to be with the previous prime minister.
Yeah. like kind of debate that they usually do before election.
Right. Okay. So they were going to force him into a public debate scenario.
No, I think he's playing like a boss for us. He's just been like, I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not doing any press conferences, nothing. You want to know my agenda? I'm ending corruption. I'm not debating anyone. I'm not talking, because I've seen like BBC interviews and stuff, or like documentaries, as you were saying before, KG. And like, it's basically like all these people in the media running around and they're just like, Belendra, like kind of thing. And he just like looks at them and just like walks off and gets in his car. And like, they're like trying to see him and talk to him and stuff when he's voting. And he just like looks at them and then he just goes back in line and he's like voting. He doesn't say anything to the media. He won't look at them. He won't talk to them. He gets out, like he has his like the sunroof in his car. So he's like driving down the street and people like cheering and stuff. And he's like hanging out of the sunroof with his little flag. And like, that's it. And he just sits there and he says nothing. It's such a different form of campaigning. It's crazy. Like, he just sits there and like people are like cheering and stuff. And he's just like, I'm going to end corruption. That's all I'm going to do. It's boss. It's bosses. It's crazy.
Look, I guess if your strategy works, your strategy works. So, because that was going to be one of my, because I thought maybe one of the reasons why he was doing that was maybe there were like activists or other candidates that were part of the party that were also speaking to the agenda. So it's just Berlinguer and that's it. There's nobody else.
It's just boss. It's so boss. Right. Like what KG's saying. Like they were like, "Oh, can't you have a debate with your opponent?" He's like, "No, he's corrupt. I'm not going to talk to people that are corrupt.
I don't want to be with criminals."
How boss is that for IS? How boss is that? It's like, no, there's nothing to debate. This guy's a criminal. This guy. Yeah. So good, man. So good. Like, how do you deal with that?
No, he has been showing that attitude from like more than 4 years now, because he was my mayor of Kathmandu. And he was begging those ex-prime ministers, saying to resolve few issues that he has been facing as being a mayor. And they did give him a lot of trouble before. Yeah. So I think that's how he hit those people so hard, you know.
What
and we are proud of it, and to be honest.
And he's always wearing sunnies too. He's a boss, bro. All right, KG. So like, going back to the original question then, like, okay, so let's just say his first job, he sends the ex-prime minister to prison. That guy's gone. He's out of here. What else do you think, like, is there something else that Gen Z have thought of? Like, what else can he do? Like, how do you systematically go through the country and get rid of corruption? Like, do you start with the police? Do you start with the army? Like, do you go to the top institutions, work your way down? Do you go from the bottom up? Like, what do you think?
I believe, like, so he has been doing things in pretty much savage way, like clear way. So I think he will do everything straight away. He will start with the document that that investigator team has came up with.
Okay, and this is the one by Karki, right?
Yeah, this is the one by Karki.
So he'll go through the report and like...
And then I think like he will start jailing down the previous political party's ex-prime minister and ex-army minister, whoever.
Ex-army minister as well? Okay, so they go after...
Not army. The person who will... we call him like Guza Mantri, like the person who will look after the finances and who will look after the police and the security of our country.
Mm-hmm. Is this the guy that guave the bag of money to his mother to like run away with?
No. That guy, that guy was the PA, like personal assistant of that guy. Like.
Oh, okay, right.
So the personal assistant, he also has like more than. I said like our the prime minister before our ex-prime minister, like they have bunker full of US dollars.
So okay, then this do Gen Z do Gen Z believe that the new impending prime minister, if he gets up, he's gonna seize that money and bring it back to the Nepalese government?
The prime minister whose house was like where money was found, he basically went to Singapore to do some checkups. I don't think he will come back soon. So he's in Singapore right now. Before election, he went saying like my health is not in good condition. So he went to Singapore and he hasn't come back yet. So we are still waiting for him to come back.
So he's gonna fly to Singapore and try to get that guy deported, is he? Extradited.
Yeah.
Bring back our money.
No, I don't. So he claimed he went to Singapore, but we actually don't know where he is.
Right.
So there has been a similar kind of situation before, where a government member of the parliament, they flew to whichever country they want, and then they vanished from there. Whenever corruption charges came against us, they are vanished. They are not in the country.
Right.
And so, like, another thing that I guess the Gen Z protesters were, I think it's actually one of the things that started it all off, was actually people are upset about the economy and the fact that they can't get jobs. I think if I remember correctly, it was like 25% unemployment. And like a lot of that, or most of that, was actually young people like Gen Z who can't get jobs in Nepal. Like, what do you think a new government, like, I don't know if you hear other people like Gen Zers talking about this, like, what do they think can be done so they can, stay at home and work at home? What needs to be done?
Before, I believe, so within those few decades, there were a lot of industries back in 2000. So we do have like different date. So here we are currently in 2026, but in Nepal we are in 2082. 86, sorry, 82, 86. We are in 2086. So it's difficult for me to calculate the date and time. But we are like few years ahead. So we do have different calendar.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So I'll consider like few decades back, there were a lot of industries, and and the employment rate was also good. So after this government came, people started believing in parties rather than believing in the country, and they started joining parties, and whichever party is on the government, and the like industry is funding them, those industry were alive, and then the opposition party industry basically were burned down or closed. And due to that, most of the industries were shut down, and Nepal was completely dependent on remittance, like people going on foreign country and sending back money to their families. And our first like primary income source of our country is remittance, and secondary is tourism industry. So this government, like, I won't say Balendra Saha, but the founder of the government, I heard his speech, he's saying like he will bring back all the youngsters from foreign country and give enough employment opportunity to them so that they can work inside. But I don't know, like most of the people don't know how we're going to do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure, like how would they do that?
And they claim that they will start working on the tourism industry now. And basically, like, Nepal is an agricultural country, but we share a giant economic nation who totally depend on agriculture, and there are a lot of agricultural subsidies. India, we can't compete with India, so becoming from agricultural country, Nepalese economy is totally shifted from agriculture to tourism sector now. Yeah. And they said they're gonna target tourism industries and build a lot of like tourism places, which will basically be like hiking, going on the mountains, and they also said like they're gonna so we do have like mountain ranges, so we do have a lot of herbal sources on mountainside, and they do said like rather than going on basic agriculture, we will start going on the herbal agriculture and sell some of the herbal thing and increase our economic source. So that's the claim they make, but I don't know how.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I think it's a problem that's affecting the entire planet. Like young people don't have a lot of prospects, and like there's very few countries that have large industrial capacity left.
Yeah,
like China's one of them. But like, America completely deindustrialized, or not completely, but like largely deindustrialized from being an industrial powerhouse,
Yeah.
to offshoring all of its industry, and its, younger people are suffering. I think like Germany has done that massively and is continuing to do so. England's done the same. Like Australia's deindustrialized largely. So like there's not a lot of prospects. Like you can go to university and maybe get into services, and like different parts of the value chain, like higher end value chain, but like without industry, like there aren't a lot of prospects, like broadly speaking. And so like this phenomenon is happening, I think, everywhere. It's a big problem around the world. And that's why I was wondering if like someone like Belendra Shah or, RSP, if Gen Z, like, really want to come home and they don't want to work across the world anymore and just send money back, like how are they going to handle that one? That's a big issue.
Yeah. And if Gen Z started going back to Nepal searching for work, then I think Nepal economy will be in the disastrous situation, because Nepal, as I said, like is main economic source is remittance.
Yeah. So that's how the money comes into the country as well. So
Yeah,
everybody comes home.
Yeah, and we actually don't know. So if you go back and ask a high school student what you want to be on future,
Yeah.
rather than they say being a doctor and engineer, they say they want to go on Canada, on USA, on Australia to pursue their educational career. So most of the high school teenager, they don't even have a static future. Their future is going on foreign country.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's how the current situation is. I don't know how they're gonna handle it, but we are still waiting for them to do so. And adding that point, RSP currently has like 2/3 of seats in parliament, almost 2/3 of seats in parliament. So if they want to change constitution, they can do that. But how Nepalese government works is there are 59 people above the parliament. So if they want to try to change the constitution, they need to approach that they need to pass it from the local parliament and then go to the above seat, like 59 seat, and still previous parties are above. So I don't know how they're gonna do it. Like, so that's a high. I don't know the English term, but that's a higher parliamentary places where there are 59 people who is looking after what they do on the parliament, and then if they need to change the constitution, they need to go to 59 people and then sign the new changed constitution, and then only those constitution will work in Nepalese government. Right. So there are still challenges that Balendra Shah need to face, but
right. So the current election is only for what the Nepalese lower house. So it's it's not for the upper house.
But not for the upper house. Yeah.
So that's an entirely different election process. Like, when does that one happen then?
So that one recently happened, like before Gen Z's movement, and there are like 59 X. I say X, like X parties, people on those places. So I don't know how they're gonna convince those X people. But currently, on the lower house, like there are around 280 something seats, and 2/3 of the seats are in favor of Balendra Shah, like RSP. So it's just like upper house.
Is that RSP's as well as Belinga Sal's hope then? Because like if Shakila Kaki's report and them going through the processes of trying to cull the corruption from the government, do you reckon their hope is some of the people in the upper house might be caught up in that, and maybe they
I don't think like corruption cases will be the problem. Like they need to go to upper house for the corruption cases. It's just like if they need to change constitution, because there are few rules that previous parties has came up with. Like they have tweaked a lot of things in constitution, which basically hampers our countries economically. So there has been saying, like we have been saying to Balendra Shah and RSP that they need to bring up those agenda and change few of the rules in constitution, and they did promise that they're gonna do it. But if they want to do it, they need to go to upper house and take their approval. So which I don't think will happen, because previous party rules the upper house. So, and if they want to do it, they need to wait. The upper house election happens every 2 years. So it just happened recently. So they need to wait for 2 years if they want to change constitution.
Right. So you think that whilst Belingasal and RSP are most likely going to form government, it's only going to be in the lower house, and the previous government controls the upper house, so they will be able to institute change, but it's going to be in a very limited format.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. That's true. Yeah, and yeah, that's true, and I think people has accepted that as well. Like they moved on with those things. They know the scenario, and RSP can't do anything with the constitution right now. And if they go on re-election after 2 years, I believe like upper house will also be changed, and the people from RSP will be elected on upper house, and then it will be easier for RSP. But they still need to wait 2 years if they want to change anything in constitution.
Well, look, in light of Belingasal, how he's like handled this current election cycle, do you reckon maybe that might be his ultimate game? Is that he'll go into doing all the changes that he wants to do, and maybe he'll even though it's a folly, he'll try and change the constitution in order to improve things for Gen Z. Yeah. But then maybe wedge the upper house where he tries to push through the changes and they block him, and they will and he might be like, oh, look, well, I'm trying to improve things for the ordinary people, and you're blocking these changes. Like, are you part of the corruption? And yes. Do you reckon that might be his future plans, maybe for the next election?
Yeah,
it's like ride the vibe, if you will.
Yeah. I get that vibe as well. I get that vibe as well. If Balendra Shah has like a positive intent towards country, I believe which he has, but we don't know what will happen in future. But if he has positive intent towards country, then he might open the. There is sure like upper house people are also corrupted. We are sure, because they were on the previous parliament, previous government. So and those people who are on the upper house were being on the lower, like they were on the lower house before as well. So they were re-elected as a upper house member. Few members are re-elected as upper house member, and I'm sure like they were involved in some kind of corruption. If Balendra Shah take out that files, and if they were involved in the corruption, then re-election can happen soon. We don't have to wait for 2 years, which then will lead to a positive impact, and they can change the constitution easily. But it's a process which I believe take times, but we are excited to see the future where it leads. And still Balendra Shah hasn't had the oath taking ceremony. So yeah, and I'm going like the week after, so maybe I'll be the part of the change, celebrating the part of the change. So I'm excited for that as well,
Don't maybe you can be our Nepalese correspondent and let us know when you get back as to what the feeling is on the ground.
Yeah.
But actually, connected to what you were just saying, like, it sounds like Gen Z are at least hopeful for Belingasal and RSP getting rid of the corruption and hopefully, updating the constitution so it works more for Gen Z and at least the working people in Nepal. But like, what about you personally? Like, what like for Gen Z, what are you hoping this change in government and moving forward in the parliamentary system? Like, what change are you looking forward to?
For me, like, so if I want to do any government work, if I go back, still like if I want to do any governmental work, it's a big hassle for me. Like, we have to either wait for I won't say everything will finish on a day. It will take around a week, to finish a simple governmental task. So for example, if I want to go and do my licensing work, either I have to corrupt somebody to do everything quickly, or else I need to wait for a month or so just to finish my trial and get my license. And my license, usually, like when I did my license exam, it came 7 months after I did everything. So if I corrupt someone, it could have become like a lot more easier. So their corruption has become one of the part of the process. I want to see Balendra Shah ending that process and making it streamlined, so that everything will be easier for people.
Right. So the quick and easy way to get things done in government process is to grease somebody's palms.
Yeah,
so
just pay someone off. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're hoping that he streamlines governments so it actually is competent and works properly.
That's why I was asking before, KG. Like, okay, it's one thing throwing an ex-prime minister in prison, but like, how do you actually fix corruption like everywhere? Like, that's a huge job. Like, you going through every single government department, everyone that might have some power, like somebody working in an office or just like a normal police officer standing on a street corner. Like, how do you stop that? Like, that's part of the culture almost.
Yeah, so I heard one of the interview, that's the same question asked to the current economics, like the current, current finance minister, who is going to be the current finance minister in Balendra Shah parliament. Same question was asked to him, and he replied saying everything needs to be digitized in his case, so that it will be more transparent to people, and they don't have to be the part of they will in that process in between, and in my like gut feeling, like, so that's the governmental work. What about like non-governmental work? For example, there has been there was a situation in our capital where garbage, household garbage, so whenever they take household garbage to dumping site, the surrounding community over there, so some parties go prior to that community and bribe them and start strike, and don't let capital mayor to throw that garbage in those area like dumping sites, so they have to bring their truck back. So it's not about like the government people are corrupted, it's about the citizens residing on those areas are corrupted as well, because if they have allowed to make those area dumping site, Kathmandu's population was like, it could have been better for Kathmandu population. There was streamlined waste management process, there would have been a streamlined waste management process. But before Balendra Shah, like when I came to Australia, I think he was about to be mayor. Before that, whenever I walk outside and walk around 10 to 15 minutes from my house, I used to see a pile of household garbage in road.
Yeah.
So why that happened was because political party went to that community, like where the dumping site belongs to, and they bribe that community and do a strike. And then whenever truck or the vehicle take garbage to that community, they turn those vehicles back, and there has been a huge problem. So I don't know how finance minister going to manage on the citizen level, but they said they're gonna manage on the governmental level, where they want to digitize everything and streamline the process.
Okay, so I guess to recap on that point that you just made, are you saying that there's at least hope because there is a mood for change in the culture? So like before this, the Gen Z protest and before everything that's led up to the election, it was, Joe Blogg over here bribed the committee and the commission that runs the garbage and the waste management. Oh, that's just how things are done around here. There's nothing that we can do. Whereas now the ordinary citizens and the culture in itself is questioning that, where it's like, no, fuck that. Like, why are we doing it like this? Like, shouldn't we change things up? And they're hoping that the groundswell of support from the ordinary people will convince the apparatus within the government to be like, oh, well, actually, maybe we should change how we run things. Otherwise, we're going to get another building burnt down. Like, is that kind of what you're saying?
Kind of. So
Right.
yeah. So that's and so I think like to handle those kind of situation in the community level, there need to be some subsidy given to those community by the government,
Right.
so that it's like bribing them on the governmental way, either like reshifting those whole community to some other places, giving them more opportunities, which will be like better for them and their children as well. They can do that, but I don't know how they're gonna do it. But Balendra Shah knows those things. Like before he went to ex-prime minister with those issues and asked him to settle those things, which ex-prime minister didn't do it. He had some kind of frustration, which he came on the media and said that like ex-prime minister is not helping him with those community related work. So I think he understands the situation now. Becoming himself a prime minister, he gonna settle those communities in his own way.
And can I ask, just like you personally, like coming to a place like Australia, is it a cultural shock when you experience Australian culture, where if you go to, I don't know, do some paperwork, or you need to do something official, or deal with, I don't know, a police officer or someone out in the street, like, is it a culture shock that, like, you don't have to pay anyone off? Like, there's none of that type of stuff. Is it a culture shock? Do you notice the difference?
Yes, whenever we go to some of the government places over here, we usually talk, like me and my wife, we usually talk, oh, if Nepal was this better, because everything is so streamlined, so easy, like everything, like the most of the thing that we do as an international like student, it's quite easier for us. I don't know how like local people, how the situation with the local related stuff, but the stuff we do as an international people is quite easier over here, like governmental work, taking out the license, international license, driving license and licensing job, and everything is like streamlined. It's a process. You don't have to go and bribe someone just to take out anything. But in Nepal, everything is physical. You have to go to book an appointment. Also, you have to go to the government body house, like stand there for how long, like 5 or 6 hours long, just to take an appointment for a month later, and come back a month later and stay there for 7 or 8 hours, and then just to register yourself in, and then again a month later or so you go to the places and do the work that you are after, and then the result will come. I don't know how much, like 6-7 months after. That's the process. Like it takes all, like average, if just for a license it takes you like average a year just to get a license. It's not because government is not functioning well. It's because they need money, and if you give them money, like everything is easier.
Well, I hope, like, it sounds like, to be honest, that there isn't much of a plan, but there is good intentions. Like there is a sentiment out there that things need to change, and from what we can understand, Balendra Shah may be keeping his cards very close to his chest, and nobody knows what he's really going to do yet. But like, I have high hopes. Like, I honestly, if he has said, I'm not going to talk to anyone, I'm just going to fix the corruption issue, which is something that's, it does slow everything down. And what it does as well, it makes society incredibly unequal, because then the people that really can afford to just pay everyone off, then like their life is so much easier, because like they don't have to do anything. They don't have to wait around. They can just get what they want. So like, if he is legitimately going to start a trend which, changes Nepalese culture. This is why I've asked this a few times. Like, you can bring in all the new laws you want. You can bring in a new police force that like goes around, breaking people's legs if they don't do the right thing. But like a lot of the time, it's a cultural change that needs to happen in the population too.
Yeah.
And so, like, I hope people, if there's this energy out there for change, especially if it's coming from the youth, like Gen Z, and they want to see this stuff happen, they want to see this stuff change. I really do hope that it actually happens. Like, it'll take time. It might take a generation or two. But like, if this is the thing that starts it all off, then you guys will go down in history, the Gen Zers.
And I believe Balendra Sai is also maintaining that personality, that attitude. Yeah. So if he start explaining everything to people, then every action he does, he have to explain it to people, So if he stop explaining or doesn't talk with anyone, just action he takes, that's it.
Yeah.
Nobody gonna ask him like why he has done, because everybody knows that he's not going to answer. That's kind of attitude he has been building from his election, and I think he's going to maintain that election. And I doubt RSP knows what he's gonna do in future, because he's standing from that party, but they also doesn't know what his action plans are.
Yeah. Good luck. I this could be an absolutely historic moment, like a revolution in the true sense as well, like a complete cultural shift that sends you guys off in a new direction. So I really good luck to you when you go over there.
I'm also waiting for him to receive like a Guinness World Record certificate,
to do his ceremony where he gets sworn in, kind of thing.
No, because he's the youngest prime minister in the whole world, so who knows, he might receive like a Guinness World Certificate becoming a youngest prime minister.
So like, I'm assuming when this happens, right, when he gets sworn in, there's going to be a massive party in Nepal. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Finger crossed. At that time, I should be on that spot to party with all the people,
Yeah.
And most of the influencer that are on the parliament with RSP, I have been following them for a long time. So I know their intention, and I believe like they're gonna do things in the better way. But let's see.
You're part of the Discord, aren't you, KG?
Yes, I did. Oh, so Discord was so the guy who basically like made that Discord channel. He's also one of the member of RSP now.
The Discord democracy guy.
Yeah, Discord democracy guy. He's also one of the member of RSP now. And I believe like if I was in the Gen Z protest and I could have like stood in front waving my flag and asked like Balendra Saha or RSP to make me like a member from some of the Western, that they could have done it, because I'm Gen Z, and I support the revolution and I'm part of the revolution. So they are supporting every Gen Z. Every Gen Z. So yep. And I have seen, I was from I went when they were electing Sushila Karki, the current prime minister, as like a temporary prime minister on the Discord. And it was Balendra Saha who tweeted on Facebook saying, oh, she's the right candidate. And they were like discussing, oh, Balendra Saha said she's the right candidate. Why don't we just make her prime minister? Boom, she's prime minister now. That's how she became a prime minister, It was just Balendra Saha single tweet. So, yeah, he has already made one history on Nepal's government. So I don't doubt he will make another history. So, yeah, we are just waiting for that change.
Well, KG, you might as well make a crack at it, mate. Like, when you go over, why don't you ask them to be the RSP delegate for Australia? And so you heard it here first, folks. When KG's back from Nepal, he might actually be the delegate for Australia for RSP. So.
Talking about that, like in Canberra, we do like there are people who host parties from RSP, Yeah, there are people like who support RSP and they're hosting like community events over here on the behalf of RSP.
Get in on the action, KG.
And the fund they raise on that community program, I believe I doubt, but I believe like it goes to RSP bank account, back in Nepal. So that's how the party is running.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like MysterE was saying, good luck with all that you're trying to achieve. And like, yeah, I also, we hope everything kind of works out for you guys because it sounds like interesting times in Nepal.
Yes, yes, it is. It is. And if I hear anything when I'm on the floor, I'll surely update to you guys as well.
Well, yeah, I might have to send you the Discord link. And if you manage to get some cool videos from the party at the as Belinka Sal's been sworn in, you'll have to upload it to the Discord.
Yep, sure.
Okay, and with that, let's move on to the last segment. I'm not sure if you remember this from last time, KG, but we've created some AI art that's in relation to the topic that we talked about today.
Yes.
And I'm asking the both of you what you think the prompt for this AI art was. So do you want to have a first crack at it, Mr. A?
I will. This is obviously Gen Z voting in the most recent elections and bringing on that revolutionary change. That's what it is, and it's quite the equality-driven Gen Z, isn't it? Hey, they've definitely got the equal. They've got the balance between the men and the women there. I like that. There we go. Men and women. Let's change this country. Let's do it. Let's do this.
Do you want to have a crack, Shaggy? What do you think the prompt was?
That's good how you have like addressed Nepalese as a mountaineer country, and I can see mountains, and the sun setting is a new dawn. I believe that's the sunset, like which is setting the previous government, and Gen Z are electing a new one where they are throwing their votes in the ballot.
Yeah, I think my prompt for this one was a little bit too much on the nose. So the prompt for this one was dreaming about democracy with Gen Z and the Nepalese fighting for a new world at the ballot box. So yeah, you guys were pretty much right there. But as you say, the guys kind of putting the ballot in the ballot box, and the AI did a really good rendition of the Nepalese flag.
Yes, and I think Nepalese flag, you can see like it's a unique flag. It's a true triangle.
It is.
It's the only one that's like that, right? The triangles and
Yes, and they are different color. There is a reason behind it, but the reason gets changed actually. And they did put like a parliament. They did put previous ex-government. They did put in the parliament addressing the flags need to be changed, and there was a huge protest happened saying like this is a flag that has been there for centuries, so we won't allow it to be changed. So that's why it's still standing there. Yeah, and if you say Nepal, then you can see mountains. AI also recognized Nepal with the full of mountains. So I think that's how the mountain is there behind the flag,
Right. Okay, and with that, we hope everyone you enjoyed this episode. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. KG, thank you for coming on today. It was a very interesting discussion. So thank you for sharing your experience and everything that's happened up to lead to the March election. We really appreciate it.
Thanks Thanks, Mr. E, for having me. Like it's indeed a pleasure,
Yeah, thank you so much. And remember, everyone, to keep thinking and keep learning. And to sign us off, I'll give it to you, MysterE.
Thank you very much, 4AS. And yes, thank you very much, KG. It's been a very interesting discussion, and good luck when you go back over. And good luck to Gen Z. I hope you guys change the game and for the better. And to all of you out there, if you've made it this far, please make sure you have liked and you share and you subscribe for more. And until next time, please remember, I am, you are, we are a MysterE.